Sunday mornings in the Okonkwo household were sacred. It was the only time 7-year-old Choma had both parents without her mom rushing to a meeting. Her father, James, sat in his favorite chair, newspaper in hand, occasionally looking up to smile at his girls. "Daddy, after church, can we go to the park?" Choma asked, her eyes bright with hope. James folded his newspaper and pulled his daughter onto his lap. "Anything for my princess," he said, kissing her forehead. His wife, Amara, watched from the kitchen doorway, her heart full. After 12 years of marriage, moments like these reminded her why she had fallen in love with James. Yes, her job as a senior bank manager kept her away long hours, sometimes traveling for days, but they had built something beautiful together. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday morning. Amara was rushing to prepare for an early meeting when she heard scratching from the bathroom. Grace, their househelp, emerged, pale and shaky, clutching the door frame. "Grace, are you alright?" Amara asked, genuine concern in her voice. "I'm fine, ma. Just something I ate," Grace mumbled, avoiding eye contact. But it happened again the next day, and the day after that. By Friday, Amara found Grace hunched over the toilet and handed her a towel. "This isn't food poisoning. How late is your period?" Grace's eyes widened. "Ma, I don't know." Amara smiled, trying to lighten the mood. "Don't worry. Is it someone from church? That young man who walks you home sometimes. You can tell me." But Grace just stared at the floor, trembling. What Amara noticed next changed everything. James had been standing in the hallway just outside Grace's door. He hadn't heard her approach, but the look on his face, panic, raw and undisguised, made her blood run cold. Their eyes met for just a second before he turned and walked away. The seed of deception, once planted, grew with terrifying speed. Amara started watching. The way Grace's eyes followed James, the way he suddenly found reasons to leave whenever Amara mentioned Grace's condition. The thick silence that fell over the house like a suffocating blanket. She told herself she was being paranoid. James loved her. They had a daughter together. He would never do something like that. But the truth came like a thunderclap on a Wednesday morning. Amara had left for work, but he realized she had forgotten an important file. She turned the car around and drove back home. She unlocked the door quietly. The voice stopped her cold. "You have to get rid of it," James was saying, his voice sharp with desperation. "But it's yours. You said you love me." Grace's voice was high-pitched, theatrical. "I never said that. You have to abort it before." Amara stepped into the living room. They froze. The file in her hand fell to the floor. The sound echoed through the house like a gunshot. "James, tell me this is not what I think it is." He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again. "Amara, it's not." "How long?" she asked, and her voice was still now, cold and unbreaking. "3 months," Grace answered before James could speak. James turned on Grace. "Shut up." Then to Amara. "I told you I didn't want a househelp. You are never here, Amara. Never. Every morning, you are gone before sunrise. Every night, you are home very late in the night. So it's not my fault." Amara's laugh was bitter. "She was always there for me. She listened when I didn't get that promotion. She made me feel like a man again. Why you made me small? With all your success. What were you expecting me to do? I was expecting you to be a man, be a husband, be a father." Amara's composure finally shattered. Tears streamed down her face. "I trusted you with our family, our daughter. Don't you dare bring your mind to this," James said quietly. "You brought your mind to this the moment you brought another woman into her father's bed." Grace stood in a corner, one hand on her stomach, watching them destroy each other. A small smile played at the corner of her mouth. The following months were a nightmare carved in normalcy. James moved to the guest room. Grace stayed. Where else could she go? Amara threw herself into work, anything to avoid the house that now felt like a tomb. The baby was born on a rainy October morning, a baby boy. Grace named him James Jr. Then came the day that changed everything again. James required a DNA test. Grace resisted, but he insisted. The results came back on a Tuesday. James was not the father. The paper trembled in his hands as he confronted Grace. She smiled. That same calculated smile Amara had seen the day the truth came out. "Did you really think I wanted you?" Grace laughed. "I was broke. You needed money. I knew you'd cave in eventually. Like the weak man that you are. I also knew she would just drown herself in more work, allowing me to enjoy my time here in peace. A comfortable place to stay and constant upkeep money from you. I had it all figured out." "But the baby isn't even mine," James whispered. "I know," Grace said, "but you slept with me. You enjoyed it and told it yourself that I was far better than your wife in every aspect. That part was real. Why would I carry a weak man baby?" She packed her bags that night and left with the baby. The last thing she said was, "Thank you for the free accommodation and food." The house fell silent. Amara and James sat across from each other at the dining table. The space between them felt like an ocean. "The baby wasn't even mine," James said again, as if repetition could undo what he had done. Amara looked at him and saw a stranger. "No," he said quietly, "but the betrayal was." Amara didn't leave him, and sometimes they talked to each other, but he knew within himself that the family he knew was gone forever, not because of Grace's manipulation, but because he had made a choice that no DNA test could erase. The truth was simple. Betrayal doesn't require a reason. It only requires a choice. And some choices, once made, can never be unmade